It's Monday. It's Monday evening. Hello guys, welcome to another live stream. We are doing well. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I had a nice weekend at my parents' house, which was very lovely. And during the weekend, I had sort of a think, I guess you could say, about our little project here. And so what I thought about was, we're writing the story, we're writing the hero's journey, we're detailing the story, right? And I feel like what we maybe a nice thing to do before we continue. So right now, of course, we have a draft of our intro, Ordinary World, Call to Adventure, Refusal of the Call, and Meeting the Mentor. And we were supposed to go on with Crossing the First Threshold, Test Allies, Approach, blah, blah, blah. Like all these 12, right? But what I feel like is a good idea is if we start, as the title suggests, detailing our personas. And in particular, our main character. Because we don't know yet how, I mean, I have an idea of all this in my head, right? But we don't know yet how our character will react to certain things. And we want it to be consistent, of course. So that's why, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned this a couple of times in other live streams, I have this sort of detailed character sheet, I guess you could call it, that I call my character personas. I am educated within web development, so personas were a big thing there when you had to find your target group or like use cases for your product. So that's what I thought we would do today, and we're going to do it for Vespa, our main character. And if we manage to do that today, we will continue with our supporting character. It's also just due to the fact that I'm a little bit tired of calling them supportive character number one, you know? It's very, I don't know. It's very not personal when we say that. So that's of course what we're going. And I think maybe when we come up with a new character, we're going to start a bit, maybe not right away, but fairly early after the new character is thought of, to give them a name, to actually give them names, right? Animo, hello, how are you doing on this Monday evening? Welcome to our character detailing stream today. Right, so let's just get to it, right? El Cuervo is here as well. Hey dude, I am wonderful now you are here, my friend, says Animo. Oh dude, you are so kind. I hope both you guys writing is going well. Just need to check something with the chat on YouTube. There we go. Should be all good now. Right. I hope that now. I hope you guys are comfy. I am. I got some tea with me today. It is getting rather chilly here in Denmark, and I'm trying my best to wait until the 1st of October until I put on any heat in my apartment, but my apartment is a little bit drafty, so like I was sitting today with a duvet on just to be nice and comfy, but it was nice, it was good. Right. Vespa, our main character. So... Vespa. What we have written down for Vespa is that she is Feyen. She does not have a spirit bound. For some reason. A reason we're probably not going to get into in this particular book. It might be something for the second book, maybe. You know, to give that book some sort of agency as well. She is 10 years old. She is the only child at the castle, this temple / whatever. Maybe. We're not so sure of that. I think it could be a good thing that she would be basically the only child, because we could give her this some sort of a motivation, being, you know, that she wants to have a friend, that she gets rather lonely at night or whatever it is. She is small, of course, because adult Feyens are 90 centimeters to 120 centimeters tall, so they should go human to around the waist. That also means that child Feyens are 50 centimeters to 70 centimeters tall. And we somehow need to work that into the text once we actually start detailing it. She has red hair, and I don't know how long I want it. If she's 10, maybe she has long red hair. I know I want the red hair to be... Elquero says, damn, they're minuscule. Yes, she is going to be very small. But, I mean, you look at something like... Fey folk are the gnomes, the hobbits of my world. And hobbits are around... I think they're around that size. At least when you watch Lord of the Rings, the hobbits are like waist size. I know I want her hair to be shoulder long by the third book, but it might just be longer now. We're just gonna say long, whatever. Long red hair. Long red hair. She is prone to daydreaming and make-believe. She also dreams of becoming a paladin herself, just like supportive character number 1. And she gets distracted really easily. She is strong. Not just for her size, but she is strong. Which is something that we also need to make sure we emphasize. She's stubborn, but she's kind. And then we're gonna have her hear voices from time to time. Not all the time or everywhere, but we definitely, of course, we want her to talk to... we wanted to talk to the ghost of the very first son of the evening. So yeah, she's not crazy. She does have an unknown ability to communicate with the dead. Maybe only some dead, we don't know yet. But that's the thing we want to detail. So, yes, let's write here, she is 10. And we just... I'm not sure I'm gonna go through these points one by one. Maybe we're gonna jump between them. But yeah. So these are my character sheets. They consist of the name, the appearance, the age, the appearance, the belief, the temper, their values, their needs, their goals, their desires, their fears and insecurities, and a giant quirk, and then a background story, just so we have all that down. And I recently learned from watching a Brandon Sanderson clip that having goals and desires for a character not necessarily match up can actually be quite interesting. So I think maybe you want to try some of that out. Because that makes them seem more human, because humans are complicated and not straightforward, right? Let's start. And this is also, we're going to write this out in like paragraphs. So we have to have some sort of storytelling, not just bullet points. Vespa is short. Not necessarily for her age. Given that she is Fae and she is of the Fae folk. But in comparison to the humans in and around the castle / temple, the Paladin Castle. Time for a second, then writing time. But I have a couple of questions for you upon my return. Ooh, Animo. I am excited to hear that. And to hear what you've come up with. So 50 to 70 centimeters. I don't know how long. 2 seconds. I'm just gonna find something to measure with because I need to see. I need to see exactly how long 50 centimeters is. 50 to 70. Oof. 50 is not. I don't know if you can see. So this is 50. So it's like from my. Actually, it's just around the height of my torso. That's interesting. What if we go with the legs? So 50 is right around my knee, and 70 would be like the middle of my thigh. So yeah, this is 70. This is if she was 70 centimeters high, which I'm guessing she's not. Or is she? Maybe? Like, we don't want her to be too small, I guess. And then she would have a growth spurt. And she would have a growth spurt to like 90 to 120, 120. Well, 120. Then we're like. That's almost dwarven height though, 120. So I guess Fae folk are definitely not 120. We did say it was like a between things, right? But of course, I think I've done this before, but like, so a meter is my waist. I think I'm gonna need to shorten how big Fae folk are. I know that sounds strange, but I don't want him to be like dwarf height, which would be like chest height of a human. But 105 is probably better. 105 centimeters. And then, so this would be around 10, would be 50 to 60 centimeters long. Maybe 65? Yeah. 65 is what? That's a little over my knee. Yeah. Maybe 65. So we just need to settle upon one of those. I feel like this is a big span though. 15 centimeters. We're gonna say 60. And then she would presumably gain 1/3 of her height as she grows into an adult. So what is 60 centimeters? In fact, how can we describe 60 centimeters without saying 60 centimeters? Equerus says, remembering the last short story is starting to seem hilarious when you think Cal is... is that... No, don't say kickable. I mean tiny. Honestly, yeah, I mean... I come from World of Warcraft. Like, Warcraft is my... That's my fantasy universe. And I absolutely love gnomes. So of course I wanted them somehow in my short story, in my world. So that's why we have the fake folk. But yeah, and then you have Cal, which is so tiny. He would be around 100 centimeters tall, I guess. Cal. And then you have his wolf, Gwilfane, who are like massive in comparison. He's almost like a pony to him. By the way, Aquarium says, I recommend the common measure of the Middle Ages, the place name club. Like, when you say club, Aquarium, is that like something you hit something with? Vara. I don't know what Vara means. Vara, Middle Age. Middle Ages. No, I don't think this was it. But yeah, like, that's sort of what I want, like a common Middle Age measurement, I guess. I guess back then they would use feet, but I don't want that. Oh, but you know, maybe. Okay, so what would we have in like a monastery temple type castle? We would have barrels for stuff. Medieval barrel size. English wine. That's in liters. No, like a stick. Yeah, okay, so yeah. In Spain and Italy and France, there used to be a unit of distance measurement that consisted of a stick that is this large. Okay. Oh, so like a French club, a Spanish club, an Italian club. And the stick was kept in a place so it was the vara of... Okay. Right. Is that the... I think I've heard of that, because they used something similar to determine, like, this is a meter. Once that was figured out, how much a meter was, then they had this stick of 1 meter. But I'm more looking for a descriptor that without saying it directly, you would know how tall that is, right? So just like in... I thought that was very good what we did in Want, our short story, where Carl's mentor is described as double the height of his owl soulbound, because people have an idea, you do have an inert idea of how big an owl is, right? Animal returns, welcome back. Welcome back to barrel sizes. Barrel size height. Barrels. Typical dimension, says Gemini, would be around 70 centimeters. So that would actually be a Feyfolk, right? Let me know when it's sufficient time for me to pose my questions to you. You know what? Bring it. Bring the question, Animo. Because right now I'm just sort of... barrel height seems very important. It is very important, actually, because we're going to use something as a descriptor for how tall Vespa is. And I thought a barrel maybe could be something. But please go ahead with your question. My first question. This is barrel. It's a unit of volume. Yeah, that makes sense. A chair. Chair height. Standard chair height. What the hell is 18 to 23 inches? I'm gonna say 20 inches. 2 centimeters. So that's 50. I think that could be a good, like, saying she was just taller than a chair height, than the height of a chair, of the seating of a chair. I don't know what that's called. That's something people can relate to, and we had chairs back then in medieval ages as well. Wow, I'm not even going to read that out loud anymore. Anyway, I'm going to read your question. How do you not hate everything you have written when editing? I went back to make changes based on what you said, and I just can't hack even reading it back over. That's a good question. I don't know. I think this is going to be the worst advice in the world, but I think you just have to get over yourself. I mean, just power through it. Because I think for me, I don't necessarily hate what I write. I mean, I can see, I try to focus on where I can improve, but I know exactly what you're talking about, because when I started making content on YouTube, and you can go watch it on, I have a gaming channel, it's Dair's gaming stuff. The first crap I put out there was some Skyrim playthrough, and that was terrible bad, like very bad. And I remember cringing when even though I didn't think it was too bad, I remember cringing when I had to edit that. I didn't even edit that much, but when I had to create the videos and look through them. But you know, it sort of had to be done. So the more I did it, the more I got used to it. And now I'm just, you know, we just do it. And I can listen to myself now. I can listen. I don't do it a lot, but I can put like an old playthrough of me and watch that back and not hate it. But I do tend to focus on the mistakes that I made instead of enjoying it. And it says it's probably good advice, to be fair, especially if someone else, in this case you, has read it and enjoyed it. Yes, I did actually very much enjoy it. Perhaps I'm just too much of a perfectionist. That's another terrible thing, to be too much of a perfectionist, because I feel the same way. I'm not saying what I do is perfect, but every time I'm doing something new or whatever, I get this feeling that it has to be just right until I publish it, or whatever we do. Even just live streaming. I love live streaming. I love sitting here, talking out of my ass. But if it weren't for some very good friends of mine who set a goal for me to start live streaming like I told them I would, I don't think I would have done it, because I needed things to be perfect. I kept making up excuses for why I didn't do it. Like I wanted a UI, I wanted like on the stream, and what about all these different widgets, and you know, everything just had to be perfect. And I wanted to start when I started a new story, even though it was months away. Sometimes you just gotta do it. Just take the plunge and get better at it. Because it sucks being a perfectionist, because it, for me at least, it often means that, or it usually meant that I didn't get to do the things that I wanted to do because I didn't think I was ready to do it. And the whole idea of this project with the short stories and different versions of the short stories, now the book here, was to publish something, get it out there, and then revisit it once I got better and make it better. And I didn't even do that perfectly, because then I ended up with Fly, or my third short story. I ended up with that, with me just spending hours trying to perfect it before putting it up online and publishing it on my own site. And then as soon as I realized I did that, I found more mistakes. And I was just like, well, of course I find mistakes. That was the whole fucking point. So yeah, power through and just do it. like, as our Lord and Savior, Shia LaBeouf, said, just do it. And I know it sounds terrible and, you know, but with practice, you stop cringing at yourself and start taking it for what it is, which is past you doing something, and be proud that you're doing something. If that's not a short form video, I don't know what is. Motivational short form video. Thank you, Animo, for that wonderful question. Now, what was the next question? We have the 29, 9, around motivational perfectionism. Motivation. The second question, yes please. And just while you type the second question, we're going to type that in fact Vespa is barely tall enough to look over the seat of the chairs. Seat of chairs. Seat of a chair. But what she lacks in height compared to a human, she very much makes up for in strength. Strength. Oh, it auto-corrected. She. Second question, Animo says, the boy in my story, his name is Seth, but I have no last name for him yet. The working one has been Stanton, which I swapped over from a character who isn't yet introduced. You've seen that he has electric-related powers, and he is effectively the sword of the story, where that other character is the shield. So what might you name him if you were going to? So let's just Animo, you're writing a story about. I'm sure. Is it fantasy? Is it sci-fi? Maybe sci-fi. Is a world where dreams are in their own reality, and people can jump into that reality. Some people can jump into reality, and some people can take dream powers with them back into the actual reality. So like an Inception / superhero story, which sounds very cool. And then that. So yeah, this guy has electric-related powers. He is effectively sword. It's a story where that other character is shield. That also depends. Like, do you have naming schemes or naming conventions for your characters? Because there's a multitude of different ways you can name characters, right? We know we talked about it. Yeah, I suppose it's both fantasy and sci-fi and fantasy, really. Yeah. You've seen how I make names on one of the other live streams, where I make up some naming convention for the different races, the different species. which is takes a hell of a long time because I need to make a language that supports that. I need to make words for a language that supports that. But what would I name it? Like, if you could... I mean, you do have like a mirror of the real world, right? So you could look at names that mean sword in other languages. So for example, maybe write Old Norse name for sword. Just to take a suggestion, because I was looking at Old Norse names today. I know this isn't... I know you're English, so this isn't probably what you want to do, but because there's a lot of different weird shit here. Egg could actually be something. Svärd. That was where sword came from. Here. Like, you could look at names meaning sword or something. Boy names meaning sword. And you would have that as a foreshadowing, right? As a sort of foreshadowing. That could be a fun way to do it, because then it was sort of there all along. Seth whatever. Seth Swordman. Probably not Swordman, but you know. You said not particularly, mostly because they have to feel real or like they would exist within our old world. Yeah, but he's a white American, so it needs to be someone tied with that. Well, you're in luck there because America is full of immigrants, right? America is immigrants. So there's plenty of people with the old Nordic names, or just Nordic names, for example, or Italian names, or Spanish names. Nope. I spilled. God damn it, didn't I have... El Cuervo says, following with Animal's question, what would be a good name for a fine and reckless gentleman with a shotgun and mutton chops? God damn. So what I would do, like I said, what I would do is find a theme for the person. And you know, like you said, he is the sword of the story, where another one is the shield. In quotation marks, and then work from that. So, boy names meaning sword. Apparently Brandon does that. Saxon, Egon, Brandon, Seth Brandon. That sounds very, very American, and it would mean sword apparently. That's strange. I didn't know that. Brandon name meaning. Hello. Apparently my Chromebook here is striking. But while it's working, okay, there it works again. So yeah, El Cuervo, I would do the same with you. For you. Is there a theme to this gentleman with a shotgun and like a story theme? Like Anno said, he's the sword of the story and another one is a shield. This was not at all what Brandon means apparently. From meaning groom or gorse. That's not sword. So we have Saxton, Brandon, Tempest says, which sounds better coming after Seth. Okay, yeah, let's rule out Brandon because broom is weird. So yeah, always remember to double check that this Saxon Egon, Seth Egon. I didn't actually know. That's a Danish name as well. It's an old Danish name as well. Brand is cool. Scandinavian for sword or blade. It's actually Scandinavian for fire. I don't know. This is the worst. Don't go to Baby Center apparently. It's not worth it. Saxon could definitely be submitted names with sword meaning. Aegon. I mean, that might be because I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones. Aegon. I didn't know that meant sword. That's cool. I quite like the idea of having something that begins with S, just to be slightly in keeping with the superhero theme. Yeah. I mean, Seth Saxon is cool. Saxton. And just to make sure, Saxon name. Saxon given name. Saxon name meaning. Dagger or short sword? According to Gemini, which, you know, might hallucinate stuff. What do we have here? We have... Well, yeah, Saxi is just the same as Saxon. Selim means sword in Mongolian. Apparently Saxton means sword town, while Saxon is dagger or short sword. Yeah. But that's how I would name him. So that line of thinking as well. And I don't know about you, El Cuervo, if you're getting closer to naming the person, the gentleman with the shotgun and mutton chop. I like that short description of him. That his shotgun is part of his personality almost. Ah, my tea is cold. That went fast. Um, 0043 naming. Honestly, Seth Saxon sounds... I think that sounds cool. And, you know, you could have him... like... His backstory would be like his family name was from Saxony or something. Like either German or... just Saxon. Not the T. No T. Seth Saxon. Aguero says, I was aiming for something like you see in a parody of Bridgerton. I don't think I've seen Bridgerton. Sorry. But do you, El Cuervo, do you have a theme in mind for him? For what his purpose is in the story? Because then we can work from that. But what she back to Vespa here. What she lacks in height, she very much makes up for in strength. Actually, that's not part of her appearance, though, is it? No, not really. I'm also a little unsure as to how I want her to be like. So gnomes in Warcraft, right? They're short and stocky, a little bit like small dwarves, while gnomes in D&D are a little more like, I guess you could say, mini humans. They're definitely not as stocky as these dudes are. This one, for example, she has quite long legs in comparison to the rest of her body. And then we have the Hobbit of Lord of the Rings. Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. Which is also D&D-ish, right? Oh, that was not a good picture at all. That's Lord of the Rings online. That wasn't exactly what I was looking for. But it gets the point across. They're like mini humans. Which I guess I'm leaning more towards. Yeah. Probably. She very much makes up for in strength. You know what, I'm gonna say through the appearance here that what she lacks in height, she very much makes up for in strength. Even though her Feyen frame isn't overly muscular. In fact, one could say that her small legs and arms looks a bit like twigs. This is, of course, like I mentioned that I'm writing this in paragraphs, but of course it's not really going to. It's not really going to be anywhere, right? This is just background stuff that we're going to refer to. But I like the idea here that we have someone who's really strong, but she's really small and a little bit skinny. But just because she's a Feyen, she's just really buff. Not really buff, but she can lift things as if she was really buff. El Cuervo, did you get any further with the name? Because I just thought of something. So you said a parody of Bridgerton, and I haven't actually watched Bridgerton, but I'm pretty sure it's an old English show, or like, not quite. Okay. But you did say he was a gentleman and a parody of Bridgerton. So we could go the route of old English aristocratic surnames. Boom. It's a Pinterest post here. Victorian last names. That's a good one. No, that's TikTok. God damn it. Victorian last names. VictorianChildren.org. That's actually a web page. Cool. Okay. Okay. So here is the top 50 most popular surnames from 1853. So that could be one way we're going there. Just have a look at a bunch of old or common Victorian last names or aristocratic surnames and pick something that you like. King is apparently one. That could be fun. It's not really anything here where I think. I mean, I don't know the character in the story. Is he aristocratic as well? Because you could have like a Lord King, maybe not Lord King then, but Lord Harrison, Lord Morgan, right? Oh. Watson and Morgan are good, yeah. Yeah, that could be, but they haven't combined with a title to make, you know, to make it clear that he is a gentleman. It's sort of like a university teacher. Then a title is great. Professor Morgan. I don't know. Let's go, let's see this Pinterest post. Explore it. Parsonby. Oh my god, there's so many here. This is just P2. Oh my goodness. Something with Q. I think that could be a fun name. If you're not so interested in like what it would mean, you like Lord Quatermain, Alan Quatermain, Lord Quainton, Professor Quainton, Quarmby, Quarrington, Quinton. That could be, I mean, if you combine it with the professor or doctor, or I mean, then we almost, if it's doctor, we're almost in like a villain country. But I think I got it. Okay, cool. But yeah, actually, I could see someone named Lord Quinton, Lord Quarrington, have a shotgun, mutton chops, and a top hat, and a monocle. Maybe I'm leaning too much into the into the villain theme as well. So what did you settle on? For gentleman. Oh my god, El Decano Bennett Hargreaves Tregisimo Quinto. That's a name. I'm guessing El Decano is Spanish for the dean or something like that. I love that. So many names. That's really how you know he's an aristocrat. I'm not gonna take the time to translate that to English. No, that's fine. That's a very good point, that you know they're aristocratic when they have a bunch of names. It's funny. I love that. El Decano. Oh, that's his title, right? But Hargreaves Tregisimo Quinto. Nice. Good job. Back to Vespa here. In fact, one could say that has small legs and arms. Look a bit like twigs. I'll say fallen twigs. Like other fans, other fey folk, Vespa has a rather sizable head in comparison to her body. Her long hair her chest long hair. Now her long hair goes to about the middle of her back and is okay. We need different shades of red. Shades of red. Dean Barrett Hargreaves, 35th, apparently. Okay, the 35th. Ah, nice, nice. Again, what a great way to show that he is aristocratic, he's a gentleman, he comes from a long lineage. And that reminds me that I actually need to do some lineage stuff as well for some names, I think. Something I've forgotten to do. Thanks for that tip. Remember lineage for stuff. Okay, what do we have here? We have red, cherry, rose, jam, mallow, garnet, crimson, ruby, scarlet wine, brick, apple, mahogany, blood, sangria berry, currant, candy, lipstick. I'm thinking a scarlet red. That would also be like that's red. But that would also be that feels fantasy like, you know. Like whereas it's not really, it's always the same guy. Oh, so interesting. So he's a clone of himself. So he is the 35th version of that same guy. That is intriguing. He just dies, then he comes back from an ethereal wall, getting a new number. Nice. That is very intriguing. But, I mean, just the 35th, like, you could make it so it sounds... So this guy, he fools everyone into, like, he makes it sound like he's the 35th of the long lineage of aristocratic gentlemen, while he is actually just a new version of himself that comes back from the dead. Just it's very intriguing though. It's a very cool premise for that character. We're gonna go with Scarlet. She is scarlet red haired. Scarlet red. It's very red. That's what we want it to be. And it's scarlet red. Her long hair goes to about the middle of her back and is scarlet red in color. Her ears are large. In comparison. We said comparison twice. I know this isn't something that's going to be published really, but I want to find a different word for comparison. Analogy, connection, contrast. Yeah, contrast. In contrast to her otherwise small body. Wow, the Chromebook is really struggling today for some reason. Hello, there we are. Okay. I mean, it is a cheap one. It was just a glorified web browser basically, but it is my writing. I just needed something that I write. Something to write on, so I knew that whenever I open this, I'm writing. Here's a large contrast to otherwise small body. And pointy. Pointy without being long. Just I guess she would have fairly big hands. I like the D&D look of. I think this is something that I wanna go for. The classic D&D look for a gnome. Just they have long pointy ears, but she's just like a tiny point. No. So it was over here without being long. She still have her. I was about to say chubby cheeks, but maybe not. Maybe not. Not. So they still have her baby cheeks, but it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense if she's 10. Cheekbones. Her cheekbones are protruding. Are cheekbones I don't know what that means. No, I'm not looking for attractive cheekbones. Phew. High cheekbones. Cheekbone descriptions. The amount of bones located close, you're considered to have high cheekbones. Lower cheekbones. Her cheekbones high, right under her large copper eyes, and then we have like What did I say for? I just need to check something real quick. Branding stories in the world. Okay, so that didn't tell me anything. I was just looking at some old documents for the ideas for Fey Folk. Right. So the large copper eyes are below bushy eyebrows. And her eyebrows, bushy dark eyebrows. So her eyebrows are not the same color as her hair. So high cheekbones, large copper eyes, dark bushy eyebrows. And then I like the whole contrasty thing. So did you die again? What the hell, Chromebook? What the hell is going on? Yeah. So some of these are definitely using too much power. Okay, I'm gonna have dinner, says El Cuervo. Have a nice dinner, El Cuervo. I hope you will be back once you have had it. I'm probably still gonna be here. But thank you for joining anyway. It's great having you. And great having you chat, as always. Right under her large copper eyes, below bushy dark eyebrows. Like her head, her hands and feet are similarly contrasted in size to her small frame. She's got like big hands and rather big feet in comparison to the rest of her body. She's got a pointy nose. Her nose is pointy. I'm just making stuff up right now, right? It's not like I just figured what could be an interesting look. She's got a pointy nose and a pointy nose and chin with a small mouth that almost never seem to be shut. So she talks all the time. She talks to herself. She talks to, like, she asks questions all the time. Like, she's this really curious but annoying child. Yeah, pointy nose. Pointy, no, pointy. Never seems to be shut. And small mouth that almost never seems to be shut. Okay, I think that's a good appearance. Her belief. So, given that Vespa grew up I guess she would be called, like, her last name would be something with the castle where she grew up, right? Or it could be of the paladin surname. Surname of the paladins, or it could be so like Geralt in The Witcher is Geralt of Rivia, and Rivia being a region, but this would be like of the castle, / temple, once we figure out what that's called. Or it could be the Blessed, given how a lot of the paladins' magic is centered around the blessed water that the faith, the teachings of the 5 pillars use. Hashtag read my first short story, Calamity. Definitely sponsored. If I could sponsor this stream by myself, I would do it. But that would require me having money. Or it could be of the blessed water, You know, so I kind of like the of the temple. It could just be also the order. But I like that she doesn't actually have a surname in that regard. Like, she's fully part of this paladin order. I'm actually just gonna, because I've done with my tea, just gonna didn't even notice I was gone. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But, you know, don't take it away from me that I was so fast. Okay, given that Vespa grew up at castle slash castle slash temple as part of the paladin order, which resides there. As part of the order of paladins, which resides there. She's fully what? She is raised. She's being raised in accordance to the teachings of the 5 pillars. With the teaching of the 5 pillars. She is unaware of most other religions of the world, even though she's Feyen, since the we need names, guys. We need so many names. We need names for the castle temple. But that requires me to finish the background lore of the great battle that once took place where this castle was raised. Is more or less her whole world. I was working a little bit during the weekend on that particular battle, and I think I have the name for the battle that took place, which is Battle for the Dying Light. That sounds cool, I think, and it also goes well with the whole Eveningsun Trilogy, the sun theme, Son of the Evening. So I think that's what the battle is going to be called. But then we need to derive a name. Very good name for a battle, says Animo. Very good game too. Is there a game called Battle for the Dying Light, or just the Dying Light franchise you're thinking of? Because I thought it was so so original here. Actually, I knew it wasn't, because the Dying Light franchise, yeah. I heard good things about it. Very good things about it. I never played it though, because I was busy playing World of Warcraft. But it actually came from me watching the titles of George R. R. Martin's other work, and he has a book called Dying of the Light, which is a very cool title. And I thought it worked well with the Eveningsun theme. It's very fun. Highly recommend. Need to play the new one. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think it's on my list, definitely. But, you know, my bucket list for games keeps growing longer. And also, my water is ready. I'm gonna be drinking so much tea these next couple of days because I don't know what it is. I want to wait until October before I turn on the heat in my apartment. Animo says, do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at the close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. The wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning. They do not go gentle into that good night. Is that from Dying of the Light, the George R. R. Martin book? Because I haven't actually read it. What a beautiful dramatic reading. Thank you. Thank you. That's why I'm here. I mean, it's a cool title, right? Five pillars. So, of course, we need to be aware when we write the book. We need to be aware of the rituals that they have, the 5 pillars, religion, and have that incorporated, because they're, I don't know if I want to call them zealots, paladins, and templars, but they are protectors, the protector knights of that religion. So she's of course fully into this religion, the teachings of the 5 pillars. Her chores and everyday life therefore centers more or less around this religion and its blessed water that the paladins are known for. Known for utilizing. Yes. So we can definitely do the goal now. Vespa wants to become a fully fledged member of the Paladin Order. So she can be just like her nose stitching. Just like her, she can be just like her older sister. Who we of course are naming supportive character number 1. Let's go. Let's go, supportive character number 1. She admires her older sister, the one who practically raised her. Where was I going with that? I think this is definitely where we can have like a contrast between what her goal is and her capabilities, because I want Vesper I want her to want to become a paladin, but she does not show any ability in like in use of the blessed water for healing or whatever ritual they're using the blessed water for. So there's definitely an insecurity there that's pretty big, a fear insecurity. Let's just write that down. Big insecurity that she cannot become a paladin because of lack of skill. Her lack of feeling with the blessed water that her older that's support character 1 shows and of course throughout the books we're gonna see like how she manages to become that anyway. Spoiler alert. Whoops, there we are. Cheers, everyone. A new cup of tea. She admires her older sister and apparently raised her, and want nothing more than to be just like her. Just like her. Kind, encouraging and helpful. Capable and helpful. Everyone. She wants nothing more. Okay. I'll accept that. She wants nothing more. Vesper. So here's a fun little question, I guess we'd call it. Not really a question, but a thought that I want to think. Is attributes something you learn or genetic? Like, of course, in the real world, it's learned. It's like Vesper here, she is stubborn. I mean, that's what we wrote up here. And it makes sense to have a strong and stubborn person. And that is something I wrote is a general trait of the Fae folk in their description, in their overall general description. I wrote that a long time ago. But that makes sense. That makes sense to have because Fae folk isn't generally going to be raised among other Fae folk, right? So they would learn to be stubborn because that's how Fae folk does things. It's not genetic. Attributes in what sense? Like animal, like stubbornness, for example. Like personality traits. She is stubborn. Part of the personality character. Not necessarily skills, but part of their personality. In this case, I want her to be stubborn. But I don't know. I'm not sure if I want her to be stubborn because she's a Fae folk or she has learned it somewhere. Because personality or character attribute would be something you most likely pick up from your parents or your family or people around you, right? I don't think that's something you necessarily are born with, but that's something you learn. I don't know. Does it even matter? Like, we can just say she's stubborn, and that's gonna be right. That's just gonna be like, whoever reads it, I'm not gonna question why they're stubborn, or if that's a learned attribute, personality trait or not. I think I'm overthinking it. Animo says I think it can be both, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right on that. There's definitely babies where you're like, okay, that baby is stubborn. They don't have... Stubbornness can be within the nature of a race of people, yeah. But upbringing can also make someone stubborn. And like, I might be overthinking this. Like I just said, I'm probably overthinking it. People are not gonna question that. Of course, why would they? It's just personality trait. It's just the way it is, right? And I think stubbornness can create some fun situations. Both have the character pursue something because they're too stubborn not to see where this leads. And it could also create some really interesting situations where it was the wrong decision to be stubborn. So that's sort of what I want. Why I wanted her to be stubborn. Also, I can relate to it, being stubborn and making the wrong decisions. So, her temper. Vesper. Animo says, side note, I just dropped a starburst as I opened it, and I truly have no idea the fuck it went. What's the starburst? Is that a candy? I heard it bounce off my charger and I can't see it. Well, it sounds like it's quite the adventure waiting for you, finding the missing starburst. I don't know. We don't have anything called starburst in Denmark. Starburst. Candy. Originally known as opal fruits. Brand name box-shaped fruit flavored soft taffy candy. Interesting. It sounds like we have these, I think they're German, but Mauam. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but that's also these cubes of fruit flavor. They're very good. If they're anything like these, they're very good. I mean, I don't know what you're doing in the chat. Why you're not finding it right now then? You know what? It might have gone into the dreamscape. Your second reality. Liquid Hour says looks like Tofita. They are the closest thing to Starburst and animals. Yep. I mean, it's funny. I never heard Tofita, whatever how you how you say that. Liquid Hour. It's just weird that there are different. Like it sounds like the same candy, right? But in different countries, they're called something else. Anyway, I think it may have. Honestly, I can't see the fucking thing anywhere. Well, right now is where you find out if you're lucid or not. Look at us, it's just the way you did. Yeah. It's just the way it is. Back to the temper. Vespa. Vespa is in general a happy-go-lucky kid who has a tendency to distract herself with daydreams of fantastical adventures. Fantastical adventures. So Liquid Hour says, so Vesper is basically Naruto. Yes, you could say that. I love the Naruto character. Honestly, you're not far off, because I was thinking that we're gonna get to it, but Vesper here is going to be the only kid in this castle slash temple slash monastery where she's growing up, so she's rather lonely, which Naruto is as well. It's a good comparison, Liquid Hour. I mean, temper wise. I mean, I don't quite remember him like distracting himself with daydreams so much. He was more like pranking to get attention, right? So I haven't actually seen Shippuden, anything of Shippuden. But I did watch Naruto until they started with the 60, 70, 80 filler episodes until Shippuden. So I watched his child arc, most of it. That's true. I'm gonna be the Hokage. Yeah. Spamming 24/7. Yes, I guess that is a daydream. Though he does achieve that, right? I think so. I read the ending for Shippuden. After he managed to fight the creator of the universe or whatever it is. Oh, anime. It's always a bigger threat. Happy-go-lucky kid who has a tendency to distract herself with daydreams of fantastical adventures. Much to the... not dismay, but... sort of dismay. Anime ask, favorite anime? So I will say, I haven't actually watched a whole lot of anime. But I watched the Pokemon. I watched most of Dragon Ball, I think. Dragon Ball Z. Yu-Gi-Oh! I have the manga to Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. I watched Silver Fang. That was probably my first introduction into anime. I've watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That I have the manga as well. I have watched what's it called? Death Note. And I started watching Demon Slayer on Netflix, which I really liked, and then I sort of stopped for some reason. I should pick that back up. Anyway, you asked my favorite anime, and that is by far and large Full Metal Alchemist. I read Fairy Tail as well. Well, I really like Fairy Tail, but I feel like Fairy Tail had the problem of classic anime problem of there's always a bigger enemy and it just goes on forever. The one thing I really liked about Full Metal Alchemist is that you know the big villain right from the get-go, and it's only like 65 episodes, and it's just that show is fucking evil from time to time. If Liquid Hour says, if you like that type of anime, watch Hunter x Hunter if you didn't already. Character progression and story is amazing. I heard Hunter x Hunter should be really good. Oh, there's so many of them that should be really good. I love Death Note. My dog's name is Kira. Oh, that's cute. No, I really like Death Note as well. My biggest gripe with it was that I felt like after every single episode there was a giant twist that turned out not to be a twist anyway in the beginning of the next episode, and it just got a little bit, it got a little much towards the end. Even though it's just even though it's short, it's only like 34 episodes or something, right? Anime says Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is the best anime I've watched, but MHA is my favorite. What is MHA? Yep, I agree. And Death Note says Liquid Hour. Good. So it wasn't just me, like. But it was still really. I really wish they would have leaned much more into the what would they call the ghost thingies? The one who drops the Death Note. Oh, My Hero Academia. Yeah, okay. Yeah, actually, I've been wanting to pick that up because that just looks fun, and you know, the superhero things. Yes, Ryuk, exactly, that guy. But is he called Shinigami or something? Shinigami. Yes, they were. I wish they would have gone way more into them and what they are and their lore, because as Gemini says here, is an actual Japanese term. There's an actual folklore from Japan that I thought was really cool, and they sort of just left them hanging a little bit. Yeah, but Demon Slayer is really good too. And I need to rewatch, pick that back up. If you like the concept of Shinigami, try Bleach. Oh, I heard about Bleach. The problem with Bleach is... I'm gonna say problem, because it's not really a problem, it's just me who... There's so many episodes. Like, that's the reason why I don't pick up Shippuden, because it's like 1,000 episodes, and it's just too much. Like... I don't have time for that. And Bleach is about the same, I think. And One Piece for that matter. So I'm really looking forward to the Netflix season 2 adaptation, because I really loved season 1 of One Piece on Netflix, a live action adaptation. Yeah, that was really fun. I don't know if you've seen that, but they just went full on anime, but with real actors. like, it was so fun to watch. Yes, because the artist is telling the story with drawings instead of... Yeah, there's also the fact that in traditional manga, the artists are paid per chapter, I believe. So they have an incentive to keep a good story going forever. And that's also like why there are filler episodes or something. Like if you have an anime, of course, if the anime catches up to the manga, then they're just gonna produce fillers until the next chapter comes out so they can adapt that to the anime, which is sort of the reason why there was these 60 or 70 filler episodes of Naruto. But it's not like it's a bad thing. It's just like I have a hard time getting into it when I know that there's so much ahead of me. It's like I heard Final Fantasy 14. It's a really good story for an MMO. It's like a really, really good story. But the main quest is like 400 hours long. And I'm just like, it's just overwhelming. I'm never gonna finish that. You know how good it is. In Naruto, Liquid Hour says, in Naruto, for example, one chapter is approximately one episode of the anime. In Bleach, it's 4 chapters per manga for one episode of the anime. Oh, yeah, okay, so the manga is way bigger than the anime, right? But it's still a lot. Bleach, anime, episodes. So can we see how many episodes there are? Anime says pretty sure JJK is the same, right? You're gonna have to stop abbreviating stuff when it will be around 450. Okay, it's not that bad then. But is that JJK? Is that what's called Jujutsu Kaisen or something? I've also heard good things about Attack on Titan. Jujutsu Kaisen, yeah. There's many different good ones. Maybe. Wikipedia, come on. 16 seasons. Oh no, it's not that bad for Bleach. And I know a good friend of mine has recommended Bleach for many years. 366 episodes. Honestly, that's not bad. It was just like 1,000 chapters or something then. Just check Bleach art and you'll see how he draws. My good friend who recommended Bleach to me, he has showed me lots of cool stories many times, and he does these big, like 2-page, almost paintings. They're so amazing. Bleach manga. Animo says Attack on Titan is good, but you kind of have to sit through the start and it doesn't fully stick the landing with a couple of things. Okay. I also heard it turns into like really nationalistic, which is not for everyone. But yeah, it's a very cool concept. Definitely. Looks great. Looks very cool. Animo says, yeah, it has certain allegories, and I think those allegories end up becoming a little confused, right? You know what? I thought Bleach was way longer. This doesn't seem too bad. 366. Maybe I'll pick it up at one point. Especially if I can find someone to watch it with, that would be cool. Let's write that down. Talking about anime. Right. Back to Vespa. I have to roll you around. Well, bye, Liquid Hour. Great having you here, and thanks for chatting. It was awesome. It was fun. Hope you be here for another live stream, or you come back. I'm still gonna be here in like an hour, maybe. Still not found the Starburst, by the way. Damn, there's so much drama, Animo. So much drama in your life. Sometimes there's just challenges you can't overcome. I know, horrible as it sounds. This is the worst procrastination I've ever had. I mean, it's only a procrastination if you don't find the Starburst, so, you know. Very much to the detriment, that was the word I was looking for, of her chores. To the usual, to the usual detriment of her chores. So she's a happy-go-lucky kid with a tendency to distract herself with daydreams of fantastical adventures. Honestly, I just thought of something. This is going to be... This could... Come on, stupid. Stupid Chromebook. Why are you so ass today? What I wanted to write was that this could be the reason why she ventures into the darkness to find Lemon, the bird. Because she invents a story to give her courage to brave the dark. This could be the story, the reason why she dares to go into the dark when finding Lemon. Much to the detriment of her chores, so she's happy-go-lucky kid. Tendency to daydream. My train of thought just left me there. Totally. Stubborn. Stubborn. Or to gather courage when things seem scary or difficult. Which she then, like, she talks out loud. That could be her giant quirk. Talks out loud. Maybe also exceedingly strong for her small size. I guess that's not really a quirk thing. So the giant quirk here, I wrote being shorter than everyone else really bothers her. That only makes sense. That only makes sense if there are other kids. There are other kids to compare herself with. Right, when I said giant quirk, it's actually, now we discussed anime before, but that is something I have from anime and manga. Because I think it brings so much life to the characters that they have something really weird. Like, I think the best examples are Luffy from One Piece. Like, he wants to be a pirate in a world of ocean, but he can't swim because, well, that's because of his backstory with the devil fruit, right? But you know, it's such a, there's such a big contrast between that and the world that creates some really funny, interesting stories. Another one is from Ranma and a half. Ranma one and a half, or whatever it's called, where the guy who wants to fight Ranma, I haven't really watched a whole lot of it, but there's this guy who wants to fight the main character, and so he keeps chasing Ranma, the main character, even though Ranma doesn't want to fight him. And he keeps being late all the time because he doesn't have a sense of direction. Like, that is just so fucking weird and funny and strange. Or we have Edward Elric in Full Metal Alchemist, who has, like, he just ignites when someone calls him short, right? And it puts him into funny situations as well. I just think that having a giant quirk to a character, especially like a main character, it gives so much life to that character. That makes them more real somehow, even if it's stupid. Talks out loud could be a good one. Even to herself. Because that would mean that she has a hard time sneaking around, because she keeps talking to herself. Have a hard time sneaking around. For example. That could be pretty funny. Of course, exceedingly strong for a small size. It's definitely something we can relate, like have impact the story. Easily impact the story. And I think I want to have it impacting the story. But yeah, that's something to think about. And of course, a giant quirk should probably be exaggerated, right? So if someone can't throw a ball or throw something, like they really can't throw that ball or that can throw stuff, like they have bad aim. They don't just have bad aim, they throw in the opposite direction of where they wanted to hit or something. But we were still doing something with the temper. Much to the dismay of the people at and around Castle Temple, Vespa is quite stubborn. A trait inherited from her. From her Feian heritage. So if she's put her mind to something, whether it's good or bad, it's good or bad, Vespa will try with all her might to see it through. And more often than not, she succeeds, though the outcome is rarely thought through at all. Yeah, that's how we need to remember that this is a kid. This is a small kid, a 10-year-old. She has impulses. And she's stubborn to see it through, and she does see it through, and then she hasn't really considered the consequences. I think that would be quite funny, and make for some good situations. Let's see. Okay. But what the Fey folk child shows in stubbornness. Oops. She also it's not like, I was about to say she also shows in kindness, but stubbornness is not inherently a bad thing, right? It can be a good thing. Though I'm not entirely sure if it is or not. If that makes sense. Because I want her to be stubborn about good things and bad things. She is a person after all. And she's definitely not perfect. Far from it. So I don't want to say she makes up for it, because stubbornness is not necessarily a good thing, nor a bad thing. She also shows stubbornness. In kindness and friendliness towards other. Hey, El Cuervo says I got back. Welcome back, El Cuervo. I hope you had a nice dinner. I'm still gonna be here in like 50 more minutes, so we good. And as you can see, I think we're doing well with Vespa's persona sheet. Oh yeah, of course we have the hear voices from time to time. Here's voices from time to time. I see you got a lot done. Yeah, boy, we definitely have. And I think we're doing some really good stuff now with the personality, with the temper. Towards other creatures and towards other creatures. However, new people, she is very shy when meeting new people and tend to take some time before warming up to them. I think that's very normal for a child, you know. They're very much themselves around the people they know, and then they're shy meeting new people. Or when dealing with people they don't like. She doesn't like. E.g. the Son of the evening. For book 1. So, values and needs. I think that's good for temper. Or should we mention that she's very helpful as well? I guess that's value. In abundance. So let's remember that we are dealing with a small kid here, a 10-year-old. And it's not like she's gonna have the deepest set of values, right? It's mostly going to be like people who are helpful and kind. People who takes time to teach you stuff. And of course, people who listens to her. I think since this is a children's book, young adult fantasy book, I feel like giving the main character, make her have the feeling that she's not being listened to, even though she's right in what she's saying. I think that could be a really good, relatable selling point for children to read this. Because I think a lot of children doesn't feel listened to in important things. Not necessarily that I'm not saying that they should be listened to, but be taken seriously. I think there can be a tendency to dismiss them just because of their age. And not that I don't have children on my own, so I don't have a whole lot of experience in that area, but that's sort of just what I think could be something interesting. Let's see. Just write the 10-year-old Finn puts high value in kindness and friendliness. those who are kind and friendly towards her. It makes her interested. Makes Vesper interested in them. Those who shows these traits towards her. How do we say this? Yeah. Interested. That also shows these traits. I just completely lost my train of thought again. The 10-year-old Fane puts high value in those who are kind and friendly towards her. And tries to reciprocate with kindness, helpfulness, and interest back. Most particular towards for supportive character number one. You know what the funny thing is I found? Because I make this, of course, I make these these personas for my other short stories as well. And then I find that once we start writing, I don't abandon what I've written in these personas, but sort of I add or sometimes forget and rewrite their personalities in the story a little bit without rewriting this persona sheet, because as I get a feel for the characters and the story when we are actually writing, things just tend to make sense in different ways. And I find that happened quite a lot with Want. I feel like I just think that's interesting, and I guess it's also the reason. Like, this is much like when we write by hand. It's draft, right? It's the first draft of the story, and we're gonna revise it. This character sheet, persona sheet, is also draft, basically. And then it evolves organically as we progress the story. I don't know, I just thought that was a fun little tidbit. And something that might become a fun little short form video. Character. Persona. Evolving. Friendship and interest back. Friendship. Since Vespa is I think I'm going to go with her being the only child at castle/temple. Vespa, she values friendship very highly, and can be desperate, on the verge of desperation, can be on the verge of desperation. To find someone she can relate to. This, of course, can be difficult when you're the only one, when you're the only one. Without any peers, both in age and species. Though she isn't sure, she isn't actually aware of what she is. This could definitely be an insecurity as well. Being a fae folk. Like, she just knows she's very small, and she should have a nickname. She should have a nickname that she doesn't like. Faean name. Nickname that she doesn't like. So, like, what's it called in the Sword and Stone? I don't know what he's called in English. The Sword in the Stone. The sword, blah, 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 blah. Commonly called the wart. Really? Is it called a wart? He's called Pros in Danish, which is definitely different. It's just like a small boy. Or a thin, a bad candle. Interest. He's actually called Ward. That's so much worse. Unless it has a different meaning. Ward meaning. A small benign growth. Sword in the stone. Why is he called Ward? Given that it was rhymed with art, a shortened word. Okay, so it's Ward. Okay, it's not like he's a ward. Boy, blissful and aware of his destiny. The what? Maybe I should watch that in English, actually. So it wasn't as bad. But that's sort of like, in the Danish version, I guess in this English version as well, he doesn't actually enjoy being called what. El Guerrero says, I sometimes envy the English language. They have very convenient ways to convey certain things. Yeah. Definitely. That's so true, El Guerrero. I have as well. That's actually one of the reasons why I write firstly in English. It's because I find that the language is much richer, and it's just there's so many more words, so many different ways of saying things than in comparison to Danish, for example. Sword and Stone, Arthur, Ward. What? I usually do have this. This is my example usually. Fire. There's fire, blaze, heat, inferno, bonfire. Like in Danish we have two. We have ild and flamme, which is fire and flame. But yeah, fire there's so many more words for the same thing. And then of course I usually translate my stuff from English to Danish, and that actually also helps me because I sometimes have to, because of the Danish, that Danish is a poorer language, I sometimes have to rewrite entire sentences or paragraphs, which make my English version more precise, I found. But yeah, we need to come up with a nickname that she doesn't like, and that people she doesn't like uses. It can be Ward, but it shouldn't. Let's just put something there. The sword in the stone. Could also just be girl, but like terrible tone, condescending, said with a condescending tone. Probably not, but just to put something down. Dolly. Dolly is not bad. I quite like that actually, so we're gonna I'm not settling on anything, but Dolly is pretty good. Because she's small, just doll. I'm just gonna or just doll. I wonder if there's actually it's very good, El Guerrero. Thank for that. Toy person, yeah, puppet. But because she's very small as well, so it would make sense that they it would make sense that they would call her Dolly. We might go with that. That's very nice. Very nice. Very, very, very nice. But we can go back to that. So we were in values. Nation, species, values friendship very highly. Yes. I think we're gonna leave that there. Should we say that she values safety? But I don't think she necessarily values safety here. And I also don't... I want her to be... Like, this castle slash temple slash monastery is just... That's just her whole world, right? Because I feel like I tend to write characters in my short stories that want to... Of course, the short story collection is going to be called Journeys or Journeys Anthology. But it's sort of the same character trait that they want more than what life gives them. And I don't think I want Vesper here to have that want. So that I said want a lot there, but I hope I got my idea across, my meaning across. Quavo says, okay, finish writing for today. 200 words. Not bad. Not bad at all. So how far are you in your story? Are you soon done with chapter 2 then? Now that you found a name for what was he called? Lord. I don't remember. The Dean. Where was it? Sorry if I'm butchering Spanish right now, but El Decano Bennett Hargreaves Trigésimo Quinto. I cannot just say once again that I love that you're doing your own thing. It feels like we have this sort of little writers club. It's so cool. Yeah. She needs friendship. Friendship is the number one need for Vesper, as she sometimes often finds herself quite lonely, as her older sister have her own responsibilities to do. And often don't have the time Vesper would like. The time for Vesper that she would like. Aquarius says, I finished half of chapter 2. Now I'm doing chapter 4 because I'm not in the mood for writing about the villain yet. Oh, so okay, so you're gonna have like the rest of chapter 2 and maybe chapter 3 is going to be the villain. So I'm reading Gods of the Weirdwood right now. I think you saw that on the short form video that I made, the Super Library Adventures. And they are doing this fun thing where there's basically two main characters, and each chapter is the other main character. I don't know. It's not like groundbreaking or anything new. But when I read like the Spellwright trilogy, Blake Charlton there tended to have, I guess, what you do with chapter 2, where it's like chapter 3, and then one part of the chapter is one of the characters, and another part of the chapter is another character, and like, so they're both in the same chapter. George R. R. Martin, of course, each chapter is dedicated to one character, and then he uses like the Red Comet, for example, in the first book to show when to have like that's like a timeline anchor, right? It shows that when the characters see the red comet on the sky, in the sky, it means that these events are taking place at the same time. So doesn't have time. But I actually never considered like jumping ahead in chapters like that. Maybe it could be a fun way of trying to do that. Of course, I probably need to have some experience with the whole book writing thing first, which is coming in November. But that does remind me that we probably also, when we do the hero's journey here, we probably need to write, or at least write some of the very last paragraphs. Not last, but last points of the hero's journey. And I know some people, some authors despise that. I'm not saying that I want to write them in detail, but I think there's definitely value in knowing where you want to end up, figuring that out, and then you write the journey there. I know people like Stephen King despises that. He very much he starts with the characters in a situation, and then the story escalates from there, fan out from there. Aquarius says, so the thing is, there's 3 villains who are like the same guy with different ages. The young one lights the library in flames in the second part of chapter 2. Ah, okay. I like the whole thing that you have going on with people coming back from the dead and like different versions of the same person. That's fun and very intriguing. It brings a lot of inherent mysticism and intrigue, which is cool. In chapter 3, the present one calls the police on the protagonists, and the old one is in chapter 1, but is only named in a letter. Nice. So is it because, I don't want you to spoil too much, but is it because you're time skipping of flash forwarding, flashbacking, or are there actually 3 different versions of the same guy running around out there in the world? Let's see here. Friendship doesn't want to do best, but it's quite lonely. Her older sister, whom she looks up to so much, has her own responsibility too, and often doesn't have the time for Vesper. Because of this. Being a fully fledged paladin means she travels and is gone for long periods of time. Something to think about. We did mention in Danger that the one coming to give judgment to the little girl could be paladins. Someone said in hopes of. So of course we need to find out what the paladins do in like wider society. Need to find out what paladins do in the wider societal perspective, and Templars as well. El Cuervo, you say no, it's like time travel. There's this thing called the nucleus that gives power to the city, but it also creates statistic impossibilities in the form of floating lights that makes anything possible. Villain tries to use these to make money off the city with incredible well-calculated terrorism. Nice. I love it. That's very cool. Huh. It's also such a great... I think you really have a cool thing going on there, but it's also like... You can sort of be kind of vague about this nucleus, right? And thereby create intrigue and mysticism, which I think is so important to keep viewers engaged, to not reveal everything or have everything be explained, or like the Force, for example, in Star Wars. It worked best when it was this unknown religious force. And then, of course, for some reason, George Lucas thought it would be good to introduce midichlorians, which was like, you're giving an explanation for this power that worked to create intrigue and mystique. What are you doing? That's nice. It's a very cool, sounds like a very cool setup, or like very cool thing to have a world revolve around. Much like Animo, I'm not sure he's here, but much like he has this, what he's writing right now, he has this dreamscape, this dream reality, besides the real world reality. and you can sort of some people can sort of jump between them. It's a really cool center to have a story around that. No full-fledged member of the Paladin Order. Oh, we were in the needs one. What other needs does she have? What did we say? That she had a need for like to be taken seriously. She also have a need to be taken seriously. Vespa's has Vespa's small stature and the fact that she's a child means that most people around the castle / temple talks down to her. Maybe even see her presence as an inconvenience. This further exemplifies? Is that what they call it? Exemplifies? I feel like that's exemplifies. Typical example illustrates. Yeah, that's not really what I was looking for. It's further not escalate. Further her need for a friend, for someone that she can truly call a friend. Besides supportive character one. being seen as an inconvenience also means that Vesper rarely gets the explanation for things that she wants. When her curiosity takes over. This could sort of bring her into the arms of the mentor, because that's a ghost who actually wants to talk to her. This plays well with her seeking out the mentor story. Quavo says, by the way, I want to ask this before, but I went to take a shower. What was the apocalypse for the Fae folk again? It was, we called it the Blight. I call it the Blight. So in the Great Cycle, which was the Fae folk, is the Fae folk religion, they have this idea of the world being dying and being reborn into ages. So we have the first age, the second age, the third age, and fourth age. And in the fourth age, the Blight will come as their doomsday prophecy. And the Blight is like rot mushroom, which will kill the realm trees of the world, tearing the world apart. That's their doomsday prophecy. Animo says, I really struggled with this character. The fucking Starburst incident has ruined me. Still not found it. The Blight, when I ran around stealing all their crops, shouting tee-hee. It sounds like you had your own Blight with that Starburst candy. Your whole world was crumbling. Yeah. I'm really happy with that idea, because, you know, mushrooms are, and the rot is like anti-life, and if nature is life, then a rot would make sense to have as doomsday prophecy. I'm really sad about it, Thomas. It was a strawberry one. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It'll turn up when you least expect it. And then your day is gonna be much better anyway. I'm sure of it. It'll turn up covered in bugs and my day will get worse. I'll be so miserable. Sorry. There is, of course, there is the possibility of buying more, but that's probably not for tonight. So I get your sadness. I get your sadness. This is a safe space, and I get your sadness. So we have like 5 minutes left on this live stream. Let's see what we can do in those 5 minutes. Admiral says there is, but I think that poor Starburst never got to fulfill his role in life. That is true. Quero says, ask while we're at it, what's your chapter about, Animo? Yeah. Animo definitely has a cool book idea. And it's not even the coolest one he has, he's told me. It's just the first one he wants to write. My chapter is about a woman under a tree who's going to give some words of encouragement. That doesn't sound weird at all. You know, you could explain a bit further with the whole dreamscape thing and the real world. While you do that, let's see here. Beings, you know. She can truly call a friend. Sure, that's a small statue. Talk down to her. Being sneaky can be means that she really gets the explanation for things that she wants when her curiosity takes over. And so rarely finds herself being taken seriously. She rarely finds herself being taken seriously, even when things do seem serious. Animal says basically the main character's mom died before the story begins, and he meets her in a dream, and she tells him the need to push on with his life, making him go back to school and kicking off his story. Nice. It also sort of reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy, with his mom dying, and her letter where she talks about his dad being an angel, and it turns out that's like a literal alien being. But you know, dead mom stuff is always Full Metal Alchemist again. Oh, so good. Quero says fascinating. Kind of reminds me of that one Lovecraft story, short story. I don't know what it's called in English. It's like La Cosa Blanca. Lovecraft, La Cosa Blanca. Yeah, she's going to. Animal says yes, she's going to appear at least once more down the line, but I mean way down the line. I don't know why I listed it as. Oh, let's go with English. Oh, Gustav Waldorf. Probably not the one. Animal says, but there will be some decisions she made in life that crop up in the story. And you're gonna tie that into the tree thing? It's gonna be sort of like a dream Grandma Willow type situation from Pocahontas, because if so, I fully support it. Yes, she really finds herself being taken seriously, even when things do seem serious. Okay. Animal says the tree, or rather this tree, isn't the tree that will matter later in the story. Okay. But still, it worked for Avatar to adapt the Pocahontas story. So, you know. Actually, I just realized that it is 11 o'clock here in Denmark, so I need to wind down, get some sleep as well. So we're going to end the stream here. And I want to continue tomorrow, where we are just going to continue this And so get her desires, fears, and insecurities, a giant quirk, and her family and background done. And then we probably Wednesday heading back into the hero's journey with a bit more of that. Animals as a pillar creation. I'm not sure yet which one will be the main idea behind them. A Tuesday stream? Yes, I'm thinking because I don't have anything planned tomorrow. So Tuesday stream, let's go! I hope you guys will be here. Yeah. With that, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for coming here, chatting, riding alongside with me. Having great questions. And yeah, if you like this, please remember to like it on YouTube and maybe even subscribe to me. And remember that we write our own stories. Bye guys. See you tomorrow, I hope.